On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks have three paths they could go forward, and we know which one the Mavericks are betting on. Talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs. Let's go.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
10 Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know. Give a prediction. How do you think the Mavericks will finish the season? That's up for interpretation. We're going to tell you today the three different ways that they could go. Today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate Basketball GM, the new app on my phone that has me obsessed. Ever dream of being an NBA GM and managing your basketball franchise? And this game's definitely for you. To download the game, just visit ultimatebasketballgm.com or go to the App Store, Ultimate Basketball GM. Our listeners get 100% free boost to their franchise when they use the promo Locked On, all caps. Locked On, all caps in the game. Joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com, the forward fiend, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Just soaking up Ted Lasso, the new episode.
Don't lie. Don't lie to the people. Don't lie to the people about
no, it's good.
About how our friendship is divided now.
I think it's hard to hate Ted Lasso. That's my thing. It's like, man, I think it's impossible to hate the show. I'm sure there's some people out there, but I'm not as like diehard in the cult, like Believe banner on my wall. Speaking of Believe, are you okay? I just want to check in on you. Temperature check. Like, are you okay from yesterday's pod? I just want to make sure you're calmed down. Like,
I'm not getting paid enough, Isaac. I'm not getting paid. I'm the shadow coach of the Dallas Mavericks. I'm just not getting paid enough for where I am. Like, my
I listened to that first segment again today, and I was like,
consulting fees are just not high enough.
I was like, he was really worked up over Jason Kidd.
I was worked up.
Kid got to him.
And you know what? It didn't get better watching Ted Lasso today. It did not. Let me tell you that. I didn't watch Ted Lasso, the premiere of season 3, and go, you know what? I see it. I see what Jason Kidd's trying to do. Nope. I don't see that.
I mean, I don't think I'd say I could see Ted Lasso in a lot of NBA coaches, but
Mike Brown? He's almost Mike Brown right now.
Okay, there's one.
Popovich on a tanking team.
No.
Popovich with no expectations. Steve Kerr. I see it in Steve Kerr for sure.
Yeah. Steve Kerr.
On today's show, though, we are going to talk about the Mavs, three different ways they could go forward and how they could finish this season. And let's start with this. I know which way the Mavericks are betting this season. Listening to Jason Kidd, I listened to those comments from last night over and over again today as I was editing that video and I was doing all kinds of stuff. I was listening to him, and I just thought, I even tweeted this at Nick Van Exit. I tweeted that I know the path the Mavs are betting on right now is that the funniest thing about all of this, that the Mavs have all these holes, all these problems that, Jason Kidd shows no sense of urgency. There's seemingly no concern. Luka and Kyrie are both injured. Like, the players that we think should get more time aren't getting more time. Like, they're losing games, all this stuff, all these problems. The Mavericks could just get Kyrie and Luka back this week. They can beat the Spurs if Luka does come back or not. It doesn't look like he's going to come back. Kyrie's probably going to come back. Doesn't seem like Luka is for this game.
He's questionable. Kyrie's questionable.
They got 13 games left, including that Spurs game. And the West is so nuts, they could go like 7-5 when Luka and Kyrie come back, be the 6th seed, play Sacramento and Memphis, and I bet the Mavericks would want to play Sacramento or Memphis if considering all the other options in the West right now. And like that would be a favorable outcome for the organization.
Yeah, I went back and listened to the full quotes from the post game too. I think now in hindsight a little bit, I do think it's probably getting a little too overblown. The kid stuff post game,
it's built on each other. It's just built. It's like every time. It's not. If you just took those one quotes from last night after the Memphis game you'd be like, okay, he doesn't seem too worried. Like it's fine. They are getting Luka and Kyrie back. Like you can talk yourself into it, but it's the built upon of the, the quote from the other.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
It's that quote. It's the.
That was funny.
I don't always tell you guys the truth.
It's the.
Twitter isn't the coach or the player.
I mean, how many different things can I pull up on just the soundboard alone?
So I want to be able to touch the car.
Like.
Okay, yeah, the analogies are cringy. The addressing Twitter is tough. I think what I was thinking about after game, I'm like, all right, what's he like kind of supposed to say? Like, yeah, I'm really worried.
How about what he's supposed to say is, hey, we have concern. I mean, we need to start. How about what Josh Green said right after that? I left right before Josh Green came on, and what Josh Green said is, hey, we got to win. We have no other choice but to win. Just say that. Yeah. That's the most generic sports thing you can say, just to show that you care in any way.
We gotta win.
Gotta win. Like that's it. It wasn't anything profound. It was just showing that he cares. He didn't even do the Ted Lasso. Kid didn't even do the Ted Lasso. Like, I believe that you can lose a game and still win. I believe that you can win a game and still lose. And he told.
If he did that though, it would be a.
I mean,
he should quote Ted Lasso. It'd be hilarious.
If he did, I would start giving him credit more. I think.
No, you wouldn't.
There's at least thought behind this. Oh my gosh, you did this to me. You got me all worked up again. I was all happy and I was ready to talk about let's move forward. And here we are talking about Jason Kidd's quotes again. Oh my!
13 games left.
I have to apologize that you felt that he should have played more.
For this path to happen. For them to, finish, let's say 6th.
Yeah.
And for them to go 7-5 or whatever it would take to finish 6th in the West. All of it hinges on Luka because, we just have no timetable for Luka right now. He says before the Memphis game on Saturday, he's like, the hope is for Luka, and Kyrie to practice the next day. Well, Luka's out, already rolled out for San Antonio. We don't have a big timetable for him. Kyrie's questionable. He still might not play on Wednesday night.
They didn't even practice on Tuesday. They decided to do an injury treatment day instead. So they didn't even practice, which I don't know if that tells you anything, but it is interesting.
So yeah, I mean, they would definitely have to have some things go in their favor, health wise for them to have a shot at, getting to that 6th spot. But when you start looking at, these final, we're midweek here. So after this week, you basically got 3.5 weeks left. And you start looking at some of the teams and even the final stretch. I mean, you get the Spurs that last game of the season, which, that's great. Because they need all the ping pong balls that they can. But, outside of that, you go to the second last week of the season. I mean, you're looking at the Hawks, Kings, and Bulls. All 3 of those teams could be fighting for some type of positioning, Kings trying to get the 2 seed. I mean, heck, at this rate, they might be going for 1. But Chicago might be trying to stay alive a little bit. I mean, then you go the week before that, it's Miami, it's Philadelphia. I don't have any clue what Indiana is looking at. But so you look at all these games the rest of the way, it's it's 2 San Antonio games and 2 Charlotte games that
Great.
You're looking at the most confident of saying, all right, if we could at least win those 4 games. There you go. Now, how can we pick up, 3 more games after that? And, you could talk yourself into, hey, we play Memphis again, and they don't have Ja and all that, but you just lost to them twice. So
well, but you didn't have Luka, and like you said at the beginning, it does all go back to Luka. Is he right? Is he healthy? Is he, can he come back and just compete? Because there are some winnable games on this. You mentioned San Antonio twice, yeah. Charlotte twice. Lakers without LeBron, Memphis without Ja probably again, Golden State in Dallas, which Golden State on the road is a completely different team. It's I wouldn't put them on the same.
They've only won 7 games on the road, I think, this year.
I wouldn't put them in the same realm as Charlotte, but
no,
they do have the same record on the road as Charlotte, though. So the Warriors are 7-26 on the road, and the Hornets are actually 11-26. They've won 4 more games on the road than the Warriors have. So. That team doesn't make any sense. So you have these games coming up that are definitely easier than, all right, we're playing the Clippers, the Suns, the Nuggets, the Bucks, the Celtics. You're playing those teams all in a row. And so But it does all just come back to, can Luka be healthy? But this is the path I think the Mavericks are betting on. Okay, we get Luka and Kyrie back next week. We go like 7-5 down the stretch. We make it hopefully out of the play-in here. They're only 2 games back from 6, and so maybe they move up. They bet on some of these teams falling off a little bit, and then that's the path. So coming up, we'll talk about how feasible that is and what it would mean for the Mavericks to get back into the top 6, or if they're okay with just being in the play-in. Let's talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about this new app that is dominating my phone right now. It started with me as the good NBA channel manager that I am, learning how to use this app, the Ultimate Pro Basketball GM, where you go and you download it, you start a season, and you are a GM that just got hired by a team that is in shambles. They have no good facilities. They get the number 1 pick in the draft. They were terrible the year before. The owner's like, hey, fix this. And you just got to rebuild all of it. You can do trades. You can do, you simulate games. You can do free agency. You hire coaches. You train players. You got training points. You have cap space. You have finances that you have to keep track of. Like, there's all these different things. If you obsess about this stuff, like Isaac and I both do, you will love this game. So go check it out. It's the Ultimate Pro Basketball GM game, and it's free. You can use the promo code LOCKEDON to get a free boost. You'll want that boost. It's like $200 million that you need when you first start. You'll need that boost early to like upgrade your facilities and all that kind of stuff. So if you love this kind of stuff like I do, probasketballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up in the App Store. I just found it in the App Store, and use that promo code, all caps, one word, locked on. All right, Isaac Harris, thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. We are free and available on all podcast platforms 5 days a week. And post games, Isaac is going to take care of you guys while I'm out. I'm going to be doing a trip with my family over these next 3 days or so. And so Isaac Harris will have the podcast.
You're going to go look at some rocks.
I'm going to go look at some rocks. I'm going to go watch that one scene in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just the 2 rocks at the googly eyes. That's what I'm going to do. I need to. I'm getting worked up about Jason Kidd again. I need to go look at some rocks.
I'll text you some quotes.
If anybody's out there just commenting like "go kick rocks," it's probably what I'm about to go do. I'm about to go kick. Let's go kick rocks.
I'm gonna get Jason Kidd on the show while you're gone.
Do you think this plan from the Mavericks is sound, or are you worried about the fact that they could be still a play-in team and have to play a play-in game and then eventually be the 7th or the 8th seed? Are you looking at this schedule and saying, okay, I'm confident Luka and Kyrie can come back. I'm confident they can win, like at least have a winning record over this last stretch of games, get over 500, and then finish the season like that. Let's do this. How confident are you, scale of 0 to 10, in this path that I think the Mavericks are betting on?
Not to caveat, it's hard to say without knowing Luka's stuff, but I'll just say 5, just because
out of 10.
I'm not super confident in it, especially, not knowing when Luka comes back. I mean, even if, here's the thing with Luka's stuff, like, you just need him healthy, right? Like,
yes.
You need him healthy for the playoffs. And, I get it. It's like, oh, if they, they might miss the playoffs and all this stuff. Like, even if you're in the play-in, like, you can't go into the play-in with Luka at, 40%. Like, you got to have him healthy. So I think for them, I think they would probably just keep him out for a little bit longer and play the odds and saying, all right, well, if we do get in, the only way we're going to have a shot is with Luka being healthy. So that's why I put it as a 5, and I'm a little worried about it. And look at this path of, the play-in stuff, because right now, before they play the San Antonio game, I mean, they're setting at, obviously there's games being played right now as we record on Tuesday night.
All the ones that matter are done, I think. It's Blazers, Knicks, and it's Bucks, Suns. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, the Lakers, Thunder, and Mavs are all 12 games back. So like,
same record.
I mean, we're just, same record. It's just wild that, I mean, you look at the Jazz and Pelicans after them, that, you're talking about a game after that for the most part. So that's where it gets really tricky. And if they do go the, strong proponent of anti-play-in tournament here.
You and Cuban both.
I don't know if I can handle the Mavs in the play-in. And but if they do go the play-in route, like, what's the best let's do it this way. What's the best case scenario if they go into if they have to be a play-in team?
They definitely have to get 7. That's best case because you don't want to play the Nuggets. There was somebody in my mentions today that was saying I would much rather face the Nuggets than the Kings. This is what you're asking for if you want to play the Nuggets instead of the Kings. You would much rather have Maxey and Dwight Powell and some of Christian Wood guard Jokic for 45 minutes a game for at least 4 games.
There's also something on Twitter today arguing that they would want Brook Lopez over Jokic. So
yeah, so anything can be said on Twitter, which is why
Twitter isn't the coach.
And we full-heartedly agree with that. So they'd have to be 7. So they have to stay there. Right now, it looks like it would be the Timberwolves, but anything could happen. They're only 1 game up on the Thunder, Mavs, and Lakers. Who would you rather play in that 7-8? Timberwolves, Thunder, or Lakers?
I mean, I put the Lakers last just because I don't trust anything with the
best player out of the group, probably, right?
What, Luka?
LeBron.
No.
Who's better?
LeBron. Luka.
No. Best player out of the 3 teams that the Mavs could face is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Lakers, Thunder, Timberwolves.
Yeah, well, after Giddey, I guess. I mean, honestly, I'd put SGA right up there with LeBron.
That'd be the next one. But
Nady's been playing well. But no, I mean, if I had to pick, I would pick the I'd pick the Thunder, then the Minnesota, then the Lakers. If I had just out of those teams. I don't trust the league at all with the Lakers and LeBron and wanting them in the playoffs. But I think that would be the best case scenario is if you land in the play-in, you go for the 7th seed and hope that Memphis finishes 2, and you're like, all right, let's do that.
You'd rather face Memphis than the Kings?
Yeah.
So that's the best case scenario. We think there's not good scenarios, but the best case is Thunder in the 7-8 and then Memphis in the 2-7.
I will say this. There is a weird world though that it works out in the long run. If they get healthy, they get on a run and they make the play. Like, you don't want to risk it with the play-in at all because anything can happen with play-in. That's why I'm not a big fan of it.
At least with the 7-8, you get 2 shots at it. You don't.
But there's a weird way that it would work out that you'd honestly almost prefer it, like the matchups of, hey, there's a world that you could play Memphis in the first round and then, avoid like the Suns and Clippers in round 2.
Yeah, maybe the Warriors too.
Yeah, like the Suns and Clippers finish at 4-5 and then you play. So like that's the
now. We've talked about a lot of what people have said on Twitter and comments and things like that. Is your tinfoil hat going up that the Mavs are angling to be in that 7-8 so that they could potentially be in that side of the bracket? Because if you are, like you just said, there's this weird benefit of being in that 7-8 to where if you finish 7, then all of a sudden you play Memphis probably in the first round, and then you get to skip the Nuggets, probably the Suns, and one of the Warriors and Clippers. Like that's you're at least skipping them until the 3rd round.
You're risking it all for one game. Like you mess up that one game in that 7-8 game, and then you fall for the chance to be the 8th seed. Well, then you're playing Denver round 1, Phoenix round 2.
Well, Denver's not playing that well either. So
I know, but still, like I don't think you can angle like you're really playing with fire.
I mean, you're saying that, but do you think the Mavericks are thinking that and thinking, hey? Yeah, let's try this.
No,
we can afford We can afford to sit Luka and Kyrie for a couple of games here.
Your number one thing is to not get into the play-in. That's your number one thing, but then your number 2 thing outside of that, more than playoff opponents and everything, is Luka's health. Like Luka's health, because no matter where you fall, if you fall 10 or you fall 6, like you got to have Luka healthy to have any type of shot at a run. So
some would say that mentality about the play-in has made the NBA better. I mean, I would just look at that.
No, not at all.
Guys, Isaac hates the play-in so much, and
God, I hate it. I hate it.
I love it. It's made the NBA so much better.
Let's hand out those ribbons, baby.
No one's giving.
Hey,
no one's
you
giving
participated.
It's the opposite of that. No one cares who made the play-in last year. Who will anybody remember last year? The Timberwolves, who won and got out of it and actually made the playoffs. They'll remember that team with the Patrick Beverly on the scorers table, whatever. Who'd they play? We'll also clown the Warriors when they lost in the play-in and didn't make the playoffs, right? Like,
yeah, it's like the NIT.
The same, yeah. Nobody's like super excited for you to make the play-in. You either get clowned harder or you like make the playoffs, and then it's fine.
The only thing that I don't mind about it is
strong words.
young teams getting some type of playoff atmosphere. Like, that's why I want OKC to go for one of these spots really bad, because I'd love to see SGA, Giddey, these young guys in like a playoff type of atmosphere, just for like growth and stuff like that. But I just don't think it means crap. It, like, you want to be in the playoffs, be a top 8 seed. There you go.
Yeah, but it is now the Pelicans could have shut everything down a couple weeks ago, but they have potential to actually make a postseason, so they didn't.
Coming up next,
the Blazers looked at that and said, "Hey, we don't care. We'll go ahead and."
Coming up next, I got a question for Nick. What would be the biggest failure for the Mavericks?
They're discussing the podcast.
Talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook and also the official sportsbook of Locked On. You can go right now, get a no-sweat first bet up to a $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. So you have no reason to not try this. So go ahead, go to FanDuel, see what's available. I was listening to Zach Lowe today talk about the most improved player. You got odds for all kinds of different awards. They do have most improved player odds. Larry Markkinen, minus 5,500. SGA plus 800. Jalen Brunson now plus 1,000. Oh,
wow! He
He goes on a run late with New York and all that. Man,
he's not gonna beat out Markkinen.
I don't know.
Markkinen is an all-star. SGA should win this thing, but
What if Brunson makes an all NBA team?
no, he's not going to.
Okay, well there you go. You can argue about that, and if you agree with me or Isaac, you can go check out those odds at FanDuel. Again, go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. All right, Isaac Harris, we are talking about the Mavericks' 3 paths forward. We talked about winning out, not winning, 12-0, 13-0, but having a winning record to end the season, which is the path we think the Mavericks are betting on. We talked about the prospect of playing in the play-in. And now, Isaac Harris, what's the worst case scenario for the Dallas Mavericks to end the season?
Here's my question for you. What would be the biggest failure? Because I think there's 2 routes that they could miss the play-in. And, okay, let's just...
You want me to go dark? You want me to go real dark here?
Let's put the tinfoil hats on real quick. If they decided right now, with 13 games left, to say, we're wrapping up shop, close it down, pull the mall, in the mall, when they pull the metal gate down, and you're like walking up to it, you're like, no, I want to go in there real quick. What if they decide right now to pull the gate down?
Okay.
Luka and Kyrie, the guys, and they literally try to lose out.
Yeah.
And say, we really want to keep our top 10 pick.
Yeah.
Honestly, don't think that would be the biggest failure. I think the biggest failure would be them doing this middle game back, towards the end of the year of these last 13 games, and they miss out not on purpose. That would suck so dang bad. Like, there's a world right now where you could convince me, hey, Luka's not healthy. He's not going to be healthy for a little bit. Go down the whole path, and it's like there's just 13 games left. I don't like that mindset at the beginning of the season or that first half of the season, all that. There's 13 games left. There's just all the stuff. Like, I could at least hear it, but I don't want it. I want the other 2 options that we talked about the first half of the pod more than anything. I'd rather make the play-in. I would rather, definitely be a top 6 seed because you got this duo. Anything can happen. But the one thing you can't let happen the rest of the season is you try to make the play-in and you don't. And you don't on purpose, and then you miss your pick. That's the thing that would just be like the ultimate failure of anything.
They try. They throw Luka out there. He doesn't look good. He looks worse than he did before. Where he seems to be kind of trying on defense. He just can't get there physically. He can't get to his spots physically. He's not shooting right. Kyrie Irving is out there, scoring, but it's not working out with teammates or whatever. That however it could end with him. They miss the play-in, like you said. They just lose games because they keep losing in the clutch. They outscored teams for the first 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter in the end, they just get outscored, and that's it. They finish out of the play-in, like you said. They lose their pick. Kyrie leaves for nothing. Christian Wood's gone. Jason Kidd comes back again because he's got another year of leadway because
I don't think Christian Wood's coming back either way.
No, that's not best or worst case scenario. That is just scenario at this point.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd gets another chance to come back next season. Yeah, an extension because Luka was injured and all that kind of stuff. The Mavericks decide, all right, here we go. We're going to clear all this cap space. We know we're losing Kyrie. We're going to clear all this cap space. Plan powder. That is worst case scenario.
And then they bring Donnie back for assistant GM. I mean, that's the world. Okay, Nick, if a Mavs fan's listening to this right now and saying, all right, let's say the Mavs do decide to just close up shop, pull down the mall metal gate. How far away are they from keeping their top 10 pick? God, this is so hard to talk about. But
the Mavericks currently right now have like a 4% chance to keep their pick if they just finish the season where they are now. Because it would stay in the top 4. They could either get a top 4 pick or they give the Knicks probably the 13th, maybe the 14th pick. That's where it is right now. If the Mavericks lose out, they pass.
Let's just say they missed the play-in.
Yeah.
Because as we know, there's 20 participation ribbons handed out because of the playoffs and play-in. So that leaves just 10 teams that don't make the play-in.
Yeah. Right now that's where they are. And so if they lose out, then they pass the Jazz. They pass the Lakers out of it. No, and then they get to, man, there's just the place where they'd have to be is where New Orleans is right now. No, where New Orleans is right now. They would have a 66% chance to keep their pick. That's like best case scenario because I don't think you're getting past Washington, Chicago, Portland, Indiana. I don't think you're getting.
I mean, they're 3 games ahead of Portland, right?
I don't think you're getting down there, man. Like, I think there's enough teams trying to win to stay in the play-in like the Mavs, and I don't think you're getting there. Even if you got to Portland, you have a 76% chance to keep your pick, and it would be it'll be a little higher than that because you got the top 4. But like, there's like a 70-80% chance to keep your pick if you get that low.
Yeah,
I mean it's.
And then we're all holding our breath come the draft lottery.
The math is hard, but and then all of a sudden think about this. You don't keep your pick on lottery night, and then all the Knicks fans are just as smug as ever with their bing bong and we got Jalen Brunson, we got your pick, we got all this, we own the Mavericks.
Well, I mean, it depends on the playoff stuff for them.
No, they don't care. They don't care. They haven't made the playoffs. They won since
can't
2013. Some of them are not old enough to remember making the playoffs more than that one time 2 years ago. But they have a better record than the Mavericks right now, for sure. They're 40 and 30. They're 10 games over 500. They're in the 5th seed, so they don't care. If they lose to the Cavs in 4 games, it doesn't matter. They would still be as smug. You know that.
See, like, that's the thing. It's like, one, you got to go for the 6th seed. That's what we want. That's what they should want right now.
That's what they're
in
trying
my opinion.
for.
There's probably somebody listening saying, no, they should just tank right now. The next thing, you roll the dice with the play-in. Like, I know that I feel like that would probably be a debate between Mavs fans of, hey, would you rather be a play-in team or would you rather lose out and have a 65% chance at keeping your pick? I feel like that would be a good debate for Mavs fans. I would lean towards, hey, I'd still want a play-in shot. Like, if you're telling me Luka, Kyrie in a play-in, and then there's a chance to play, one of these teams that, 2 or, whatever, like, I'd still take that over nothing. But option 3 for me would be you close up shop now instead of, I don't know, like, Luka's going to be out for another 2 weeks. He could play the final 3 or 4 games. let's just try to patch it together, and you're like winning every other, and then you're really on the bubble, and then it's like, man, that stuff scares the heck out of me. Because I don't know, I'd be pretty dang depressed on this pod if it's like they miss out everything, and then they hand the 11th pick
for the whole
to the
summer.
Knicks.
For the whole summer, we get not fiery Isaac is what we get.
What if Wednesdays would be a hot
There have been
a day over the summer?
There have been a couple people that have either commented or tweeted at me about the lineups tweet, like the lineups tweet that Jason Kidd referenced.
Yeah.
And have said to me, Nick's the new Haralabah. Nick's bringing the analytics to Jason Kidd. Guess who just quote tweeted the original tweet?
Oh, God.
It's Haralabah.
What did he say?
Haralabah.
What did he say?
He said, basing anything off these small, highly biased samples is quite the stretch. I wonder if armchair analysts know the number of possessions you would need to get a relative measure of significance with duos and trios. I do. I do.
So
I didn't anticipate this to go as far as it did, but anyway, I thought that was funny.
So he's trying to discredit your numbers.
Yeah, which, hey, I just put the numbers out there. I just wanted to see what they were. So anyway, guys, we appreciate.
You said only 46 possessions for Wood, though, too,
and for
right?
Maxey, I said only 76. That's like not even a full game. Like, that's not enough to know anything. I was just curious what they were. But there you go, guys. We appreciate you hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Make your second listen today, Locked On NBA Game to Game. It's reactions, it's analysis from every game in the NBA. Go check it out on the Locked On NBA YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcast. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Jaden Hardy, 30-point game tomorrow night. Peace out.
Good morning.
Next time, don't wait till it's 3 seconds left to talk.
Boom!